Welcome back to the channel, and this is going to be part 2 of this video. Now, this is part 2 of the AutoCAD portion of it. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to draw this in Inventor or in SolidWorks, but I'll figure that out, or maybe even both of them. But this is part 2 of this video, so if you watched the first one, what we did was we created these 3 views. We created the actual dimensions, the title block, and all of the stuff on it. So if that's something that you want to see, please go back and watch that video before watching this one. This one is just going to cover doing the isometric. I decided to break them up because I didn't want to give you an hour-long video of you watching me do this and then throwing the isometric in the middle part of it. So this is just going to specifically concentrate on the isometric. Now, you don't need to watch the first video if you want to do the isometric. This one should be able to cover everything. And you're going to also see on the video that I did, the part 1 of this one, that I did leave something off. So I'll make sure I correct that before starting the isometric in this video. So let's go ahead and jump over to AutoCAD and go ahead and get started. Okay, so what I forgot to do in this video when I created this one was I did not label these circles, right? So if I go back and just go ahead and label these, I forgot to tell you that they were either in one place or 2 place or anything of that nature, right? But, that's simple that we can do that. We'll just go ahead and make sure I got the caps lock on and just tell you that these are in 3 places here. It's going to be the exact same thing here. All I'm doing is using the edit text command, and the shortcut for it is just ED, and then I'm pressing the N button twice, and then I'll hit enter, and then go ahead and type in the 3 places. And then I also have one more thing to do, and that's going to be here on the radius dimension, because I do have that in 2 places as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that on here. And I think we are done with all of the dimensioning stuff that we would need to place on this dimension. Okay, on this drawing. All right, let's go ahead and now start working with the isometric. So remember, the first thing that we're going to do here in isometric, and this is kind of a continuation, is I also make sure that my ortho is turned on. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn on the isometric. So this is where the iso draft is going to go. So you should see your cursor should change. And then let's go ahead and take a look at my running O snaps, since these are going to be typically the same ones that I used last time, right? Okay, let's go ahead and slide here to the side. And now I'll try to remember to make sure that I use the isometric top and left and right, just so I can kind of show it to you which one. But I'm going to start off here in an isometric top. All right, we have to create some iso circles first, right? So I'm going to go EL, and we have to type this in. And then I get the option for an iso circle here. I'll click here. And then I have to tell it, do I want a radius or a diameter? In our case, we're going to go with a diameter. So D-enter, and then I'll just type in 30. Let's go ahead and do that again, except I'm going to go to this center. So I'm going to go ellipse, iso circle, find the center here, D, enter, and then type in 60. Okay, those are my 3 circles there. Let's go ahead and go to copy. And this should be a little bit familiar to you. We're going to go this direction. We're going to type in 100, and then we're going to type in 200. Okay, now we're going to go to move these 2 circles, and we're going to go forward that direction, a distance of 100. All right, now we can go ahead and connect these, and it just so happened that the quadrants on your iso circles are these tangent points. So that makes things nice and easy for us, especially when we're going to create this. So we're just going to go from there to there. And now the only problem that we're going to have is that these are not the actual tangent points. So I do have to draw a line going straight down here. And then I will draw a line from that intersection going straight across to here. All right, let's go ahead and get rid of that line and trim off this portion here. All right, so this is the bottom portion that we created, right? Now we're going to kind of step this up and move it up a distance of, what is that, 20? So let's go ahead and go to copy. And now we'll move up this here, here. Let's go ahead and move it all up. And we'll go ahead and get rid of everything that we don't want. So I'll just make our life a little bit easier instead of slicing through things. Now I will have to switch to an isometric left or an isometric right. So let's just go ahead and go to isometric left. I'm going to go up a distance of 20. Right? And now I will stay here for a second, right? All right. This is going to kind of be a double line. So I'm just going to go ahead and automatically delete that line because I know they're going to overlap. These two lines we will see, but this line here underneath will not be seen. Okay? So hopefully everything so far, you're following with me. We're going to draw a line going right from this quadrant, going up. I will over-exaggerate this just a little bit. I'll do the exact same thing here, but there's no need because that line is going to shoot all the way to that way. And we're going to just go ahead and extend this line here. All right? So now we're ready to kind of create what's happening here at the bottom, right? So let's go ahead and get rid of some stuff. We know that these lines here are not going to show because we're kind of at the bottom of this. And if I move it up another 10, that will not show. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those. Now I'm going to go to trim, and I'm going to trim off these portions, right? So I want this portion of this circle gone. Let me go ahead and zoom in here and make sure I get that portion. Let's go ahead and do the bottom part of this. And now that I just thought about it, maybe I need to stop right there. Let's hold up before I do that. Let me undo that real quick. And I want to make sure I do another copy. And I want to copy these lines here. Almost got one step ahead of myself there. Let's go ahead and copy these up a distance of 10. Okay. Now I'm happy. All right. We're going to go ahead and get rid of these circles. Okay. And let's see what we have here. We're going to have this part here. So we need to draw a line going from this quadrant here. And I'm just going to send this straight down. I'll do the exact same thing here. Let's go ahead and send that straight down. And we will have one that shows up here. And we'll go here. Okay. Now I have everything that I should need to start working on this. Now I will give you a little graphics aid here. These circles here are going to kind of be our little parts that's just going to kind of show through a little bit. So these kind of the curvature parts. What I'm going to do is just to make this a lot simpler for us, I'm just going to go ahead and turn these to red. Just so we know that those are going to be the ones that we're going to be looking for. All right. Let's go ahead and trim now. And then we're going to start working on trimming off this bottom portion here. So I'm going to work here on the bottom. And I'm just trimming off these portions here. Now I can show you a shortcut way of trimming these, but I think in our case it's going to be easier because it's going to entail me switching back and forth between the modes. All right. So that's going to take care of that portion here. Now this circle, it does something kind of funny. It kind of wraps around here, but we're not going to see this red part here, right? So it's going to come around. And let's go ahead and make sure we get rid of that red part here. And just kind of keep walking it around. We're not going to see anything back there. And we're going to stop at this point here. All right. Let's go ahead and walk this line up here. And then we're going to go ahead and trim off this portion, right? So that took care of that. And then let's go ahead and get off that part there. So you can see that part is already done for us. Let's go ahead and trim off this portion here at the bottom. So we know that working on this bottom circle, this is going to go all the way around, and make sure I zoom in to get all of those little bitty parts there. And you can see one of my methods is I like to just keep continuing and to follow it back. The old version of AutoCAD used to force you to do that. The new one kind of doesn't matter which way you go at it. All right, I'm just going to kind of trim this one going up to here. All right, and now we know that this part kind of comes and stops here, and then this part kind of vanishes, right? And we're going to keep following this red part around. So we're going to get rid of this part here, and then we're going to look right into this part here. Okay, so now that part is actually completed. Now this one over here, I need to extend this line going all the way up. So I'm just going to hold down the shift button and extend this one. And then we can start working on trimming this, right? So this line goes to here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. I have this part here. And then we're going to work from the bottom going up to there. Now this circle here at the bottom, we don't see it at all. You can either fool with it now or just don't fool with it at all. I'm just going to leave it alone. We won't see it. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim off my red line here. Kind of work my way around. Now we know that none of this will be seen. All of this in the back as well. And now that part will be seen. Let's go ahead and get rid of this line here. And let's hit the escape button here. Now what I meant by this line here is that, or circle I should say, it won't be seen, so there's no need to even fool with it. Let's put a window around all of this. And then we're just going to come here just to make sure everything goes back by color. So we're just going to choose by layer. Okay. All right. So now all of that bottom portion is done. Let's start working on this part here. So I'll start with a line. I'm just going to go from this midpoint and I'll go up a distance of 49.8. All right. Next, we're going to go ahead and draw an iso circle, right? So we're going to go ellipse, enter, iso circle, enter. I'll go ahead and select here. Now it's asking me for a radius. I do happen to have the radius, which is set to 20. We're going to come back to the ellipse command. Then I'll go I for iso circle. Let's go here. Then I'll type in D, enter, and that's going to send me to the diameter. And then we'll type in 30. All right. And now we just need to send some lines going straight down. So what I'm going to do here to make my life a little easier is I'll just create a line going across here. Select here, and then I'll use the grips by selecting this middle grip and place it right on that midpoint. And now I just need to place this line here on that, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and select this line here. And let's go ahead and move it. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead and copy it. So I'm going to select it here. I'll go to copy. Let's go from this end point or midpoint to that intersection and to that intersection. Okay. Let's go ahead and delete that. And then we're going to go ahead and get rid of this. We'll also do some other stuff while I'm here. Let's go ahead and trim off all of the parts here along the bottom and that part in between there, as well as here. Okay. Now we can't use the fillet command, so what I have to do is go to ellipse again, right? So EL, enter, iso circle. I'll type in whatever the radius is, which is going to be here, and this is at 5. Now I have 2 of these. So what I'm going to do is I'll select here, move it by that center grip, place it here. I'll select that center grip again, choose copy, and then I'll place it on that endpoint. Okay. Let's go ahead and move both of these iso circles that I just created. So I'm going to select them both, click here. I'll go up a distance of the radius, which in our case is going to be 5. Now I have to move these separately now. So I'm going to move this one going 5 this direction. And then I'll go ahead and move this one going 5 this direction, right? So now we have those fillets on there. Let's go ahead and trim this portion here, go in between. Do the same thing here and get rid of these 2 here. All right, now I'm going to switch my ISO or my cursor. Let's go ahead and do an isometric right. I want to go ahead and select here and this, and I want to just copy them, right? So I'll choose copy, click here. I want to go this direction, a distance of 70. Let's go ahead and hit the escape button. Let's draw a line going from this quadrant back to that quadrant. All right, so now let's kind of take a look at what's happening back here. Let's go ahead and go to the trim command. We're going to trim off this part here. And we know that we're not going to see that little part there, and that's kind of what shows up there. Also, if we keep looking a little bit more, it actually clips a little bit of this cylinder here. So we're going to go ahead and trim that off as well. And then we have that sitting there. All right, now this should be the exact same size as this line. So I'm just going to take this line and I'll copy it from this endpoint going to that endpoint and as well to this endpoint. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look over our isometric, and I think we do have it completed. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this. I did not want to make, this part of the other video, as it would have been an hour long, just to kind of show you how to do this. And some people like doing the isometrics, as is quite enjoyable. But thank you for watching this. Hopefully you enjoyed doing isometrics and kind of doing them individual. I want to thank you, as always, for keep coming back and giving me support. As always, keep drafting, and I'll see you in the next video.